welcome to your first 5 for the day. I'm Holly and I'm the children's pastor at Connection Point. So this whole week we've been focusing on the spiritual practice of study. So that might be an intimidating word because who likes to study really, right? Like once we're done with school, we're like, yes, we are done. But then unfortunately for me, I made the decision to go back to school. Not because I needed another notch in my belt or certificate on the wall, but because I just really needed to know more. To become a better pastor, a better parent, a better follower of Jesus, I needed to know about what I was doing and saying and who I was following. So don't hear me say that knowledge isn't important. Please don't start spreading that rumor. What I want us to hear is that knowledge needs application. So in James chapter 1, verses 19 through 25, it says, "My dear brothers, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. For man's anger does not bring about the righteous life that God desires. Therefore get rid of all moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent, and humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourself. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like a man who looks at his face in a mirror and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But the man who looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues to do this, not forgetting what he has heard, but doing it, he will be blessed in what he does." So I could break this down for us, but I think Bob Goff does a really good job of that. So have you ever listened or read so much of somebody's work that you feel like you know them? That's kind of how I feel about Bob. He doesn't even know I'm alive, but I feel like we're best friends. So let me just share his words that he writes in Love Does for Kids in the story called Bible Doing. Don't let the title intimidate you because we can learn lessons that are meant for kids as well. So it says, "One of my favorite movies of all times is Hook. Have you ever seen it? It's a story of Peter Pan, but unlike the cartoon version, it has real life people playing the characters. In this version of the story, Peter grew up to be a boring lawyer named Peter Banning. When his kids were captured by Captain Hook the pirate, Peter Banning had to go back to Neverland to rescue them. The problem at the beginning of the movie is that Peter forgets who he was. He forgot he was Peter Pan. We all forget who we are sometimes. The whole movie is great, but my favorite part is when Peter Banning has dinner with the Lost Boys on his first night back in Neverland. He sits down at the table, smells delicious food, and is ready to dig in. When the Lost Boys remove the lids from their platter, Peter's confused. There's nothing there. All around him, he sees the Lost Boys chomping away on seemingly invisible food, and he's confused about why he can't also see the food. The problem was this. Peter was just watching the Lost Boys eat. Peter needed to participate before he could see the food. In order to believe the way the Lost Boys did, he had to do what they did. I think that faith can be the same way. In order to believe, we can't just learn things about Jesus. We need to do things with him. We need to get to the do part. I've met with the same group of guys every Friday morning for over 10 years. When we're together, we certainly learn things about Jesus, but we're not there to study him. Studying is good, but by itself is just like Peter Banning sitting at the dinner table and not eating a thing. Our faith becomes real when we do what we believe. Instead of a Bible study, my friends and I meet every Friday morning to have a Bible doing. We read the things that Jesus taught, and then we go out and put them into action in our day-to-day lives. We try to do the big things Jesus talked about and the small things too. Every time we do the things Jesus talked about instead of just talking about them, something changes in us. It's like we can see the food at the Lost Boys dinner. Jesus has set that kind of feast in front of us and hopes we'll all be a part of it. One of the things we'll do at the Bible Doing is think of ways we can understand our faith better by doing something. I'll give you one example. A lot of times the position of our bodies can affect the position of our hearts and our minds. Try this. Hold your hands in a really tight fist in front of you. Couldn't you get really angry at someone if your fists were clenched? Now try holding your hands palms up with your fingers stretched out in front of you. It's harder to be angry, isn't it? I've experienced faith to be the same way. When I put faith into action with my body, then my heart and my mind follow along. I don't think Jesus wants us to just agree with him. I think he wants us to take what he taught his friends and turn it into action. When we actually do the things that Jesus said, giving food to the people who are hungry, being generous with our time and our money, or being nice to people who are mean to us, our hearts will follow our actions and our faith will become real. So hear this, we want to study. We want to study not just so we know a bunch of stuff about God, but we want to study so that we know God. And when we know God, we have to start doing the things he's asking us to do. We have to start living the way he's teaching us to live. We have to start loving the way he loves. So I'll repeat what James writes. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. So let's study, let's know, and then let's go do.